You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Is your pet stressed out? Does your pet need annual vaccines? Which pet is best for a child? Would you know if your dog was in pain? Pet Life Radio presents The Pet Doctor, where you'll learn everything about keeping your pet healthy and happy. From pet care, pet meds and grooming, to pet food, pet insurance, and dental care, this is the place to find out everything there is to know about pet wellness. Whether you have a dog, cat, reptile, or rabbit, you'll find answers for your pets straight from the vets, because it's your pet. Health matters. Please welcome your Pet Doctor host, veterinary media consultant and veterinarian, Dr. Bernadine Cruz.
You might need a dog that can fetch a set of dropped keys, turn on a light switch, help you as you struggle with PTSD or nightmares, and bring you back to here and now. One that serves as a non-judgmental tutor to a child tackling scholastic challenges, or just a fabulous member of your family. Under the tutelage of my guest, dog trainer, behaviorist, and friend Tom Tackett, dogs can do all this and so much more. What type of therapy does your dog provide for you? Maybe we can have it do even more. So sit, stay, we'll be right back after this short break.
Please have a seat in the waiting room. The doctor will be with you shortly, right after these messages.
Pet Life Radio, the #1 pet radio network on the planet, joins forces with iHeartRadio to put the power of your pets in your pocket.
Awesome!
Download the iHeartRadio app and rock Pet Life Radio on your phone, on your tablet, on your Xbox, in your car. Pet talk, pet tunes, and fun pet times. Pet Life Radio and iHeartRadio. Positively Possum.
It's designerpetsweaters.com, the latest fashion trends for our furry friends. Hand-knitted designer sweaters for your precious pup or cool cat. Beautiful couture patterns for your pets, including custom-knitted formal wear, casual wear, yachting, and even sports themed. Many designer pet sweaters include feathered Tammy hats, top hats, and a lot of sparkle. Each sweater includes leg loops, front paw sleeves, and leash opening. Visit designerpetsweaters.com to order your four-legged fashions today. Your pets will stay warm for the winter and be runway ready. Large or small, we fit them all. designerpetsweaters.com.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Welcome back to the Pet Doctor on Pet Life Radio with Dr. Bernadine Cruz. The doctor is in, and we'll see you now.
Tom, thank you so much for being with us. I've known you for so many years, and the services that you provide for my clients, for so many other people, is just fabulous. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Tom, I don't think I know. How did you get involved with dog training to begin with?
Well, actually, Bernadine, I wanted to be a veterinarian when I was younger, but wasn't that studious and really didn't feel I could go to college for 10 years or so. So when I got out of the military, I did various jobs, and then I saw a gentleman on TV, local TV, and contacted him in L.A. and apprenticed under him for a few years, and then started my own business in 1977.
With your Tackett service dogs, what I've always so enjoyed sending clients to you is that you seem to really make it a very unique training philosophy for each dog. You know, sometimes we watch TV and we see some of these trainers on TV and, you know, they have a very heavy hand and it's always, I'm going to be the dominant one. What's your philosophy for training dogs?
Well, we really like to take a positive approach to the training. I'm pretty open-minded. I believe in anything that works. I'm willing to work for that approach. But we really do like to keep it positive, especially in the initial phases, the teaching and learning phase. We like to shake the dogs through marker training.
What's marker training?
It's similar. Well, clicker training is one method of marker training. Basically, you mark the behavior in the dog's mind when they do the right behavior. So they learn, oh, this is why I'm being praised or this is why I'm being corrected.
So you have marker training. I think what's always fascinating for me when clients come in and we have this dog that is just out of control and, you know, gently try to look at it and say, all right, you're not a bad person. You don't have a bad dog. Gee, did you ever go to training? Going, Oh, yes, we went through puppy school. It seems like you send a child to kindergarten and then to grammar school, but you don't stop. What's your philosophy of getting continuous education? Do you think it's necessary for dogs, or can you basically train once and they're okay?
No, you're correct. We like to start as young as 7 weeks, actually. The earlier you start, the better. I really believe getting them out and exposing puppies to the world is important. 8 to 12 weeks is the socialization period for puppies, so it is important they get out and see a lot. But yeah, they can definitely learn a lot as a puppy, but it does need to continue on through their adult life.
Now, your training, besides having puppy classes, I also understand, and I've seen some of your dogs do Schutzen training. What's Schutzen? I think a lot of people aren't familiar with that.
Yeah, Schutzen literally means protection dog in German, and it's a sport that originated in Germany in the early 50s, and it was designed specifically at that time for the German Shepherd dog to keep the working ability up in the breed. So there's 3 phases of the sport: tracking, obedience, and protection. And if the dog could do all this work and not break down mentally or physically, then those were dogs suitable for breeding. So it kept that working ability up in the breed. Now it's become an all-breed sport, international competitions. When you and I first met, I was heavily involved in national competitions in the Rottweiler breed, and haven't competed actually in quite a while now.
And you're talking about protection dogs, and I think when most people think protection dogs, they think that junkyard dog, the dog that is, behind the chain link fence, growling, snarling, wants to rip your throat out, a dog that you just can't trust. And if I remember, you once did a video and it showed it was your daughter, I believe, in like a car seat. And here's your huge Rottweiler just loving on the baby. Somebody comes on by. Explain that video. Was that your daughter?
Yes, it was. That was Erin.
What was the story? What were you trying to show there?
To me, a really well-rounded protection dog is one that is very safe and reliable around people, very friendly, very social dog. A dog can't protect you unless he's with you. So if he can't be trusted, then he can't be with you, which means then he can't protect you. So you need a very stable, sound-minded dog that then is taught to protect you when he's told to or when you're attacked. Other than that, they're a very social dog. You wouldn't know they were trained that way.
In that video, if I remember correctly, somebody, it was a set-up decoy, came by, Erin was there in her little car seat and, was talking to the baby, talking to the dog, and everything was fine. And then all of a sudden, I think he decided he was going to steal Erin, and the dog just came, this is my baby, don't touch. Was that the scenario?
Yes, it was. It was actually a good video. He actually picked Erin up and took off with her, and then I sent my dog, and he dropped her, and then the dog went on the course and got the bad guy.
I mean, that's exactly what you want. You want that dog to protect the family. Now, besides puppy and Schutzen training, I think you also, as looking at your website, do agility training too?
No, we don't. We don't really do agility. We do have a really nice training setup that we do an obstacle course.
Oh, that's what it was.
Similar thing. Yeah, it's a similar thing. We have all the similar obstacles and the course that agility has, but this is strictly for building confidence, coordination, teamwork between the dog and the handler, that type of thing.
One of the things I was looking at your bio, and it's like, no, I don't think I know what this means. And if it means what I think it says, you're crazy. So you were...
I am.
A Schutzen trial decoy? It means you're the one that gets up in the suit and allows the dogs to attack you?
Correct. Yeah, a decoy is the term for the helper that does the protection part, is taking the bites from the dog with the various equipment on, whether it's a sleeve or the full body suit, muzzle work, whatever. But that's a decoy or a helper, it's called.
That's like the person that gets into the shark suit. It's like, really? Okay. For those of us that have watched military dogs, protection dogs, take these, fake bites, you're acting as a decoy. How ouchy is it in there? Do you get bruised up? Have you gotten bitten?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, several times. It can get very physical. That's why I don't do it anymore. I have the young guys do that now. I did it for 20-something years and I'm beat up. So it's really a lot of fun, great adrenaline rush. But there is a lot to it. It's not just taking a bite or being a strong person physically. It's really more of a mental game with the dog. And the dog is always supposed to win. So it's really important. There's really a lot of psychology behind teaching it.
What I find fascinating with what Tom Tackett's service dogs are doing, here you have the family dog, you have the protection dog, but it seems as though you've also recently gotten involved in therapy dogs. Now, Explain a little bit about the various types of therapy dogs, because we've heard of, dogs that are seeing eye dogs and now hearing dogs. What other types of therapy dogs are out there that you train?
Okay, well, there's a difference between therapy dogs and service dogs. Therapy dog is a dog that's trained to go to hospital and is basically a well-trained dog that's social and friendly and likes to be petted, and they go to assisted living homes and hospitals and that type of scenarios. A service dog is a dog that is trained to perform specific tasks that mitigate a person's handicaps. For instance, like you said, the seeing eye dog, or there's psychiatric service dogs, there's seizure alert dogs, hearing dogs. And what we primarily focus on are the psychological service dogs, primarily PTSD and autism.
Now, I've heard and seen studies where autistic children sometimes will not talk to any person, but if they have a dog or they have some pet, that they feel much more confident and they're able and willing to open up to that little entity, that being. How do you train a dog to work with autistic children?
Well, primarily, again, it's a dog that's really well trained. You want a calm dog for this type of work, and that is very tolerant. And what happens with the kids, what helps the dog, or the dog helps them so much rather, is it really keeps them level, and it keeps their cortisol levels more stable. So they're not having the roller coaster ride with the cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. And so they sleep better at night, which makes them a better person, a happier person. And it really allows them to reach out. We've had mothers and grandmothers literally cry on the first introduction with the child and the dog. There's a lot of times that children don't like to be touched, like you said, and won't even kiss their own parents and don't like to be held, but yet they'll come up and hug on a dog and actually kiss the dog on the nose. It's pretty remarkable seeing it. And so from there, the bond will begin, and it all starts to reverse from there. It's great.
Tom, if somebody were to have an autistic child, can any dog be trained to be a therapy dog for an autistic child? You said it needs to be calm. So I have an autistic child. I have a dog already at home. Is there someone such as yourself that I can go to get this training?
Yes. What we do is ask the people to bring their dog out, and we evaluate them. I do tell them up front that there is a good chance that the dog would not be suitable for this type of work. And if the dog is, that's great. But what we look for in the evaluation is a dog, again, that's very friendly, very social, outgoing, very willing to please, has either a food drive for the training purposes. We don't want to have too much of a ball drive because they're getting a little too frantic and hectic for an autism dog. So that's primarily what we look for. And if the dog is suitable, that's great. It works out perfect because we don't have to get them another dog. Then you've got all these issues to deal with. Then you got two dogs, etc.
It's just marvelous. I'm sure you see just some great changes. I always remember when I used to do sled dog racing that one of the champion mushers had a sled dog team that he had taken to a school, and there was a child that was really hanging back. And all of a sudden, everyone just kind of stopped and was looking because this child was touching the lead dog and just started talking to the dog. And everyone was just kind of amazed, like, what's going on here? It says, that child never speaks to anyone, is now speaking to your dog. So, yeah, it can just be amazing what can happen.
Yes, it really is. We've seen a lot of good things that way.
So you have therapy dogs, service dogs. I know one of the things that you've gotten involved with, and I had the opportunity to recently attend a fundraiser for Patriotic Service Dog Foundation. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, great. Yes, it's a new organization that's actually newly formed. It's a nonprofit, 501c3. What happened originally here is my trainer, Nikki, and I have been training dogs for a lot of the wounded warriors for the past 3 or 4 years at no cost. We knew they couldn't afford it. They contacted us. We wanted to help them. So we've just been training their dogs for these years, and some of our friends and clients have witnessed this and realized they were getting a little tapped out on our resources and said, how can we help? And they decided to start a nonprofit to help support Tackett service dogs so we could train more dogs for these wounded warriors. And so that's basically where that's at and how that started. So we're really looking forward to what it can bring to us and open a lot of doors for us. What
are some of the unique challenges that a therapy dog can help with? Because I was looking again at your website, and you have a woman who's sitting there with a little Yorkshire Terrier on her lap. It's like, really? This is a therapy dog, a service dog? And then you have some of the servicemen and women who are missing limbs and have a dog. So what's the breadth of what you're bringing with this Patriotic Service Dog Foundation?
Well, again, what the foundation is designed to do for us is help resources, bring more funds, which again allows us to train more dogs and provide a lot more help. But as far as the type of dog doesn't really matter, and the size of the dog doesn't really matter in a lot of cases. Of course, it's going to depend on what they need the dog to do for them. But for instance, with the Yorkie, Tracy has PTSD, and she's an Army veteran, and the dog can do a lot for her in the sense that if she has a nightmare and needs to be woken up, the dog, we've taught him to go over and turn on a light. Now, of course, the light switch is way too high for your Yorkie. So what we did was come up with a light that's on the floor that the dog will run over there and touch. And that turns the light on, then he jumps on the bed and just interrupts her. Okay, it's called interrupt, which will redirect the person back to what's called the here and now.
And I love it. So I could imagine when you brought over the electrician going, okay, I need a light switch at Yorkie level.
Yeah.
That's very ingenious.
Right. That'd be pretty good, wouldn't it?
That's very good.
We need to get an electrician on staff.
Yes, definitely. What are some of the other, not behaviors, but services that dogs can do? So I said at the start that, okay, picking up keys that you've dropped. But one thing was stand and brace. What's stand and brace?
That's where a person has difficulty walking or will sometimes trip or fall. Or if you're sitting down for a while, say at a restaurant or at your desk, and you need to get up and you have back problems or knee problems or both, then you can tell your dog to stand, and brace means to stiffen up. So the dog, you can push off of the dog, like you push off of your desk to stand up, for instance, and you can push off of the dog to help you stand up, or the dog can help you get up if you have fallen.
There's lots of little old people and little old veterinarians who could use that kind of a dog too.
Yeah, amen to that. But a couple other commands that we teach the dogs and tasks we teach are cover me and block. And
what are those?
What that does, cover me is where the dog, the normal position for a dog to be in is in the heel position, which is on your left side sitting next to you. So when we say cover, the dog comes around and sits on your right side facing behind you, which is covering your back now. So people with PTSD don't like people up real close behind them or coming too close in front of them. So if you're at the ATM, for instance, you can tell your dog, cover me, and the dog will come around, sit there, and then people won't approach too close behind you in line or checking out at the register or whatever at the store. Same principle with block. It means the dog will come and stand or sit in front of you so nobody approaches too close to you.
I can imagine that it's extremely helpful when it's just really, just stay away. I can't handle you being too close. And you don't have to say anything. You don't have to look like the bad person. Your dog is that nice boundary for you. That's fabulous.
Another thing that's really helpful for a lot of them is when they come home, they've done a lot of building searches and clearing buildings in Afghanistan or Iraq or wherever they might have been. And so they don't like going into a building and not knowing what's in there. So they come home, they send the dog in, search, the dog will go run through the house and come back to you, and it's all clear. They can go in, they feel safe, and it allows them, again, to be comfortable. The adrenaline levels stay down. They can sleep comfortably because they know that dog is there with them and will hear things, and so they can sleep through the night again. And if they do end up having a nightmare, then the dog is trained to interrupt again and get them out of that and turn a light on for them if needed.
I'm chatting right now with Tom Tackett of Tom Tackett Service Dogs. We're learning some great things that dogs can do for people, either in your own home, your wounded warrior, if you're a child with issues. It's a great service, Tom. Thank you so much. We're going to be right back after the short break.
Please have a seat in the waiting room. The doctor will be with you shortly, right after these messages.
There's nothing more delicious and healthy than an old family recipe. And for over 50 years, our family's been creating them especially for your pets. Nutrisource Super Premium Pet Foods. Dog and cat food that's all natural, holistic, and organic. Nutrisource Pet Foods contain our patented Good for Life system for your pet's optimum health and well-being. So order now. safe, quality food made by our family for your furry family members. Go to NutrisourcePetFoods.com.
From our family to yours, KLN Family Brands.
Calling all pet product manufacturers and pet experts. Let the public relations and marketing professionals at Whitegate PR get you featured in the news. I'm Dana Humphrey at Whitegate PR, and we have been specializing in pet product PR for over 10 years and can get your brand featured in the media, from TV to radio to print to blogs. You can find out more at www.whitegatepr.com.
Hi, this is Marcy Davis and my service dog Whistle, and we're your hosts of Working Like Dogs on Pet Life Radio. Working Like Dogs is the show where you can learn everything you ever wanted to know about working animals or working dogs. Whether you're a member of a working dog team or you've just seen a working dog or animal out at the mall or the grocery store and you're curious about how these amazing animals work with their human partners, then Working Like Dogs is the show for you. Join us for the inside scoop at Working Like Dogs on PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's talk pets
Let's talk pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com. Welcome back to the Pet Doctor on Pet Life Radio with Dr. Bernadine Cruz. The doctor is in, and we'll see you now.
Tom, listening to all the things that this Patriotic Service Dog Foundation is doing, I found it very fascinating when looking at your mission statement that your aim is to place assistance dogs with children and adults. So if it's a Patriotic Service Dog Foundation, how are these children getting involved with this?
Well, again, the Tackett Service Dogs trains dogs for kids with autism. So that's what we're referring to there. And the foundation, again, was formed to help provide these types of training.
Training these dogs must be extremely expensive, very time-consuming and expensive. If you were to put a price tag on what it costs to take a pup from, or dog, from being novice, no training, to now one that is going to be placed in a home situation, how much would that cost?
Typically $20,000 to $30,000.
And this is something that you were absorbing.
Yes, we were for a while there, and still are to a point.
Where are you getting these dogs?
Well, we have a great breeder with Fox Red Labs, and we also have another breeder of the Doodles, Labradoodles, and Golden Doodles. And typically, the handlers have bought their own dogs, or these breeders now are starting to donate the dogs to us, again, because of the foundation. So that's where some of these doors have opened up for us better. Then we've donated the training part of it.
And training these dogs, knowing, well, I guess I should ask, when you have this wounded warrior that needs a dog, how do they find you? Is it through government sources? Because I know working with the government can really be a nightmare in itself.
Yes, actually how we got started with the Wounded Warriors was one of the active duty Marines from Pendleton, actually in the hospital, contacted us, heard about us from somewhere, I forget, and came up, and he had a really nice Doberman. We ended up working with him. He was a gunny sergeant, and so we worked with him. That worked out real well. He told a couple people down there, a couple of his buddies, and then another wounded sergeant, Milan Franklin, came up, and he bought one of the Fox Red Labs I was referring to, Brody, and we actually just certified them a week ago. That was really a good one. He's a super guy.
And you're talking about certification. Explain a little bit, what's this certification? I haven't heard of it. I've heard of, dogs certified for therapy from Delta Society, but what's your certification?
Right. Okay, it's similar. It's called a public access test, and the dog and the handler have to show that they can access from their car, to and from the car, in and out of it, in a public building, go in, and the dogs are not allowed to sniff people, sniff objects in the stores, things like that. They're part of the test is we tell the dog, they ask the dog to down, they continue on, the dog catches up with them, the dog will sit, retrieve an item if that's what they're trained to do. So you could drop your keys in the aisleway and the dog will come around, pick it up, bring it back to you, that type of thing. And then we work on cover. The dog technically needs to perform a minimum of 3 tasks to qualify as a service dog, along with the public access.
And I was looking at your bio. It sounds as though your dogs are certified by some, or you've been recognized by some various governmental organizations. How does that make you different than, say, are there other groups, I should ask, that are doing the same thing you are?
Well, our big point of it all is I've seen service dogs over the years in stores and various places that to me weren't trained very well, and that I could tell the handler didn't really know how to handle the dog really well when the dog needed to be corrected or brought back into the correct position, or just you could just tell that there was no cohesiveness there. And so Nikki and I really made a point to emphasize on training, that the dog needs to be a really good team. The dog and handler really need to know what to do and how to do it and when it needs to be done. So we really put a lot of emphasis on control and training. And our certifications are now recognized by the Wounded Warrior Project and the Wounded Warrior Marine Semper Fi Fund and the Wounded Warrior Battalion down at Camp Pendleton and the Foundation for Service Dog Support in Arizona and, of course, the Patriotic Service Dog Foundation. So it's really been quite a nice accomplishment for us to get that in the recent few months here.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
And you keep talking about handler, and in my mind, I think of, okay, here's Tom, who's handling the dog. He is the professional. He's the trained, dog handler. But correct me if I'm wrong, you're talking about handler who's really the owner, the wounded warrior, the child that needs the dog. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, it's a handler-dog team. We are the trainers. They are the handler of the dog, and that makes them the dog team. So it's really important. It takes months and months to really get that bond and that really good teamwork and that cohesiveness, like we were saying. So from a puppy to the dog needs to be a minimum of 18 months to get certified. So if we start with an 8-week-old puppy, you're looking at a year and a half, minimum 2 years to get that dog and team certified. If we start with a more of an adult dog, it takes usually a minimum of around 6 months.
What a fabulous service that you have for these people and for the dogs, too. I can imagine, and I've seen some of your dogs, they really seem to just be enjoying life. It's not like you look at this dog going, oh, yes, I'm working, I'm not enjoying life. They still are dogs. They're a dog with a purpose, but they still seem to be enjoying life.
Oh, absolutely. It actually makes them very happy. They have a job. They're getting a lot of praise because they're doing so many things right. It really gives them a lot of fulfillment. And dogs need that. They're very, very happy. They love to work. And that's what I was saying earlier. We like a dog to be very happy in their work, but yet very reliable. It's important that they're reliable when you need them. So it just takes a lot of consistency and a lot of good hard work.
One of the things talking about enjoying, I know one of your type of therapy dogs, service dogs that you have are tutors with tails. Tell us about that program. I love it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite programs. It's great. I saw an article that UC Davis did a study in 2010 called Reading to Rover. And their researchers found out that the kids' reading fluency improved as much as 30%. And so when I read that, I go, you know what, we need to do something like that. And so we started a program 3 years ago at Salem Lutheran School really near us. And so the third graders, we have 8 to 9 dogs now that are certified therapy dogs for the Tutors with Tails program. And we go every Tuesday and bring our dogs in. The kids come in the library and read to them. It's really great. The dogs come in and lay down. We have a blanket for them, and then the kids come in and lay down on the blanket next to them and read. And there's a complete buzz in the whole room of the kids just reading. It's really, really fun and fascinating. It's really rewarding.
And it's great because the dog will just sit there and just read anything you want to me. I'm not judgmental. If you flub up with that word, it's okay. Do it again. I don't care. You're just sitting here giving me love and reading to me. What could be better for both of them?
Yeah, exactly. That's the nice thing about it. The kids can really open up with their reading and not be judged by the dogs or laughed at, made fun of. And it really helps them. It's really been fun. This is our third year now doing it.
Now, are you planning on expanding this? Because I know that you have services in Orange County, California, but you're also based in Florida.
Yes, that's a good one. My daughter, Erin, opened up a branch in Palm Beach, Florida, Tackett Service Dogs of Palm Beach, and she's doing great. I'm actually going back there in February and certifying her first dogs that she's trained. Looking forward to that. Doing a great job.
So we're showing our age, because I had mentioned at the top of this, of Erin in the baby seat. It's like now she's certifying dogs. Like, yep, we're getting mature.
Yeah, exactly. It's great.
So having been this trainer for so long, I'm sure you've seen everything. So here's people who are listening. Most of them probably are not going to have service. Oh, before I get there, speaking of those dogs, you're mentioning the service dogs in the grocery store, at Home Depot. Sometimes I look at these dogs going, I don't really think you're that service dog. I would love to have you address fake service dogs.
Yeah, that's a pet peeve for sure. There are a lot of people out there. There's a lot of websites out there promoting and selling vests and fake certificates, etc. And the problem is the American Disabilities Act is pretty vague on the requirements to be a true certified service dog. So people are taking advantage of that. It really is giving the business a bad name to a point, and the service dogs, it creates problems for the real service dogs. They're getting hassled more than they really should be going into the locations. And it's just a shame, but it's out there, and it really is a pet peeve for me, I'm sorry to say.
I agree. I've known of people who want to have a dog certified as a service dog so, they can take it into the grocery store. It's like, really? Does your dog need to go into the grocery store and you're not having a problem? They just want to have their dog with them. And yes, I agree, Tom, that it really is going to make it a pushback for those people and those animals that really do serve a purpose.
Yes, it is becoming more governed now, which is great, and there's going to be a lot more certification requirements and proof of, I think, in the next few years.
Well, I hope that people don't take advantage of the program, which I know they are. What are, speaking of problems, some of the most common behavioral issues that you see in pet dogs, and what can people do to keep it from happening?
Most common is aggression behavior and housebreaking.
Okay.
And a lot of most aggression behavior is fear motivated. Most dogs become aggressive because they're a little afraid, a little unsure, so they get defensive. A lot of it, again, is lack of socialization at the proper time, which is, again, very, very young, 8 to 12 weeks. It's so critical that the puppy gets to see as much as possible. That will help them be a more social dog. And then, again, start training at a young age and learning how to handle your dog. It's really important.
So many people, and I think it's fabulous, are rescuing dogs. So now you go out and you rescue a dog who's 2 years of age. You didn't have that chance to be there during that socialization period. But the dog is fearful. It's trying to bite somebody who's walking by or another dog. Is there hope for those dogs?
There can be, sure. In a lot of cases, we can really help those dogs and those owners, but a lot of times, no. We deal with this literally weekly, and they get the dog home, and he's good for the first month, and then suddenly they start seeing what the real dog's temperament is like because he's getting comfortable at home now. And a lot of times they are in those rescues because they've had problems. But, rescues can be great, and again, my advice is if you get a dog, whether it's a puppy or a rescue or an adult dog from a friend, take it to a trainer and get some help and learn how to handle the dog properly so you can avoid a lot of these problems.
Housebreaking. I had a black lab, and I knew that before he hit 2 years of age, he was going to get house trained. He was a very smart dog, but oh my goodness, I thought I was doing everything right. So in a synopsis, in say 3 minutes, tell us, you bring home this new puppy. How do you get it house trained?
Okay, we have some simple rules. Number one is the dog is never out of your sight for 1 second. Okay, just the same as the baby that started crawling around or walking. You wouldn't go take a shower and let the baby crawl around the house. So the puppy has 3 places to be. That's with you, attended to in the house, literally not out of your sight. The other is in a crate or in an area in the yard you don't care what the dog does, meaning like a dog run, that type of thing, an area sectioned off in your yard so you're not getting mad at the dog for going out there and eating the plants or the dog getting into trouble or sick by eating, ingesting bad things that aren't good for the dog, of course. So if you do that, it's impossible for the puppy to go and have an accident and not be able to be corrected for doing so. And what I mean by that is if the dog goes to the bathroom in the house, you simply say no, and take the dog out, take them where they're supposed to go. Anticipate is important as well. You need to anticipate when the dog will need to go. Anytime the dog wakes up from a nap or stops playing ball, if you're throwing the ball, the dog gets bored or starts walking off and sniffing, he's going to go to the bathroom, so take him out right away. Take him to the area designated. As soon as he goes, good boy, good girl, come on back in the house. So they'll learn, I went out here to go to the bathroom, I'm allowed to come back in. The other is never say anything to your dog unless you can back it up. What I mean by that, if you call your puppy and the puppy doesn't come to you, you just tell him he doesn't have to. So we always leave a real lightweight leash and collar of some type on the dog at all times whenever we're around the dog. So if he's over there sniffing around, you can grab that little rope, whatever it might be. Come here, kid. He comes over to you, that a boy, you give him a treat, pat on the head. So when you talk to him, he always has to listen to you instead of ignore you. If you follow those simple things go fast in the right direction really well.
Now, people look at crates and thinking, oh, that's really mean to have a dog in a crate. How long can you leave him in a crate?
Well, people that feel that way don't really understand how dogs think, and they're humanizing their own thoughts to the dog. So dogs love a crate. They absolutely do. It's a very safe, warm place for them to be. It's like their den, and they learn to really love it. And it's not a punishment place ever. You don't get mad at them and throw them in the crate. So as far as a puppy goes, they can be in there for a few hours. If you get a young puppy, 7, 8, 9 weeks at home, the dog will need to go out once or twice probably during the night, just like, again, you're potty training a baby. So take the dog out to the proper area that you want, a designated area for the potty break, and as soon as they go, praise, bring it back in, put it in the crate. Honestly, crates are so healthy for a dog mentally.
Because I always remember when I was a kid, if it was raining outside, go ahead and you put sheets over chairs and you have your own private little world. So I can imagine a dog feels, this is my private little world in here too. And I don't have to worry about kids pulling in my ears or whatever else. It's my own space.
That's right, exactly. Just like in the wild, the wolves, coyotes, etc., they all build a den, have their babies in there, and then mother goes out, comes back in. When they're old enough, they start going out and investigating, and then that's their safe place to go back to.
Well, Tom, if people wanted to investigate Tom Tackett service dogs, where can they go?
Well, it's simple. Online, it's TackettServiceDogs.com, and look us up and get in touch, and we'll be glad to help you.
And if anyone has a couple of extra bucks and they don't know what to do with it, and then you want to donate it to a great cause, Patriotic Service Dog Foundation is such a cause. Tom, thanks so much for being with us today.
Bernadine, thank you very much for having me.
This is Dr. Bernadine Cruz. You've been listening to The Pet Doctor on Pet Life Radio. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, please email us, and I will gladly address it on air. Please listen again. Next week, we'll have more information on how to make you the best possible pet owner. Thanks for listening. Take care.
Pets can be a wonderful addition to your life because they're a member of the family. Keeping them healthy and happy is important. Pet Life Radio presents The Pet Doctor with veterinary media consultant and veterinarian Dr. Bernadine Cruz. Whether you have a dog, cat, reptile, or rabbit, you'll find answers for your pets straight from the vets. The Pet Doctor, on demand every week, only on PetLifeRadio.com.